back to the President Grant 2 at base from the local shopping park and supermarket by Paul, you know my amateur radio call sign, 426 Charlie Tango 730 if you catch me on 11 metres and PMR 446.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Paul, Mike 0 Whiskey November uniform, or 26 Charlie Tango 730 if you catch me on 11 metres and PMR 446. So, yesterday, as you'd know, that would have been the last video, I took the Realistic TRC-1007 out a couple of times and put them against the Intek H520 Plus and the Midland Allen 42 Multi with those radios using their stock antennas and the longer Albrecht CL27 with the TRC-1007 using its exceptionally longer telescopic antenna. And on the second outing, the Realistic pretty much managed to beat those other two hands down, I think, by virtue of the fact that it could get in even on 400 milliwatts. It was noisy, as you probably heard. So I'm now down at the Prince's Gate shopping park, which is just literally only around the corner from the home QTH by a few minutes. I've come down in the car because obviously I need to have access to a mobile CB, obviously, in this case be the Thunderpole T3000. Still to do the little walkabout standardised test on the Realistic, but I haven't done that yet, so obviously I don't want to transmit when there's people walking past. So here's what we'll do. I'm going to demonstrate what should happen with me parked around these metal buildings and other cars and things. Me transmitting from this radio, which I think these are sold as 4 watts, but I think they only do about, at most, 3 out of the factory. So, should still be enough to get back home into the boomerang antenna, even though I've got that S3, S5, it looked like that S3, S5 noise. I'm on channel 11 today, so it's a different channel. So, I've got the microphone, let's see what happens, and I'll put the results in after I've dekeyed. Okay, this is a test back to base with the Thunderpole T3000. This is what should happen from a mobile set from a car that's not too far away, even though there's metal buildings and other cars in the surrounding area and also people. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is on the mobile radio before I move over to the Intek, the Midland and the Realistic. Okay, then the result of that should follow.
Okay, this is test back to base with the Thunderpole T3000. This is what should happen from a mobile set from a car that's not too far away, even though there's metal buildings and other cars in the surrounding area and also people. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is on the mobile radio before I move over to the Intek, the Midland and the Realistic.
Okay, so near the pet shop and pound shop, where it's been a few times I've tested handhelds from here and they've never got back into base. Well, I'm using the Grant 2 this time at the base. The face mask is because I've just been into Poundland to get some 2-part resin, because that's actually a very good potting compound. So if you're ever doing small electronics and you need to pot something, then 2-part resin, just buy that from your local Poundland. So because of the nature of the Realistic with its telescopic, I'm not going to film me actually transmitting. I'll pop the results in on the video and let you know from there. So I'll start with the Intek first, then the Midland, then the Realistic.
This is test of the Intek H520 Plus on its stock rubber duck antenna from outside test at home and Poundland at its Prince's Gate Catholic Garrison. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is a test of the Intek H520 Plus using the Albrecht CL27 long rubber duck antenna. On both occasions the radio is at the 4 watt setting. This is a test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Outside test at home and Poundland at its Prince's Gate Catholic Garrison. Okay, test of Midland and 42 multi on the full power setting using Albrecht TRC-1007 long antenna. Same location, outside test at home in Townland. This is gauge and counter garrison, 13345 This is a test of the Realistic TRC-1007 at 400 milliwatts, outside test at home in Townland. This is gauge counter garrison, 13345 This is a test of the Realistic TRC-1007 at full power, 3.5 watts. Outside test at home and Townland. Princess Gate Capture Garrison, 13345
Okay, so I've done the free radios, tested the Realistic on both power settings, because after yesterday I was pretty convinced it should work, but behind metal buildings I'm not 100% certain. I'll obviously have a look at the results when I get back home, and obviously you'll have already seen in the video whether it worked or not. So my next stop is the local Tesco supermarket. So there's a couple of bits and pieces I need to get from there as well, and I'll try again from down there, because I know there's been a couple of occasions where on the SDR anyway the handhelds haven't quite got in on their stock antennas, but the Realistic might change that. So the 1980s maybe have been a better era for CB radio manufacture. Although having said that, most modern CB radios are all electronically controlled and tend to get desensed by the CPU generating noise, which is a bit of a shame. So I'll go down to there now. So I've got the car running already. I've took my face mask off so you don't have to deal with that while I'm driving down there. So I'll catch you very shortly. Okay, I'm down at the local Tesco. My 2 meter set is on, but I've had to obviously turn the volume down because of the Tesco's non-compliant record automatic doors. I like to make a point that that's the company that supplied or manufactured those doors, because they're clearly supplying equipment that's not compliant with the rules and that's interfering with the 2 meter band. So I like to try and point that out as much as I can, because otherwise you'll just be hearing that. So I am in the car. I've still got the CB on. The S meter's flicking a little bit, but I don't think there's anyone there because it's not really breaking my squelch. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do again a test of what should be expected on a mobile set, configured how I've got it. So you already know the drill with that. The antenna on the roof for CB, by the way, is a Sirio High Power 4000. I chose that because it was a nice long antenna, and I prefer the long ones over the short ones because they tend to work a little bit better. Because bigger is better with CB. So let's see what a fully configured mobile setup would be like from here. Testing back to base from the Thunderpole T3000 in the car to the President Grant 2 at base. This is what we should be getting from Tesco Catterick Garrison. So this can be then compared to the handhelds. I'll be swapping to the handhelds as soon as I drop the key. Right, so I'm going to do the handhelds here, and then I'm going to actually be going into Tesco, because we're quite low down here and there's quite a lot of metalwork in the way, so you know, it should prove a challenge, but maybe not so for the Realistic. Maybe we'll see. Let's give it a shot. Again, I won't be able to film that because obviously I need both hands for the Realistic because of its telescopic antenna, and I don't have the tripod today. So I'll post the results of that up, and I will, as soon as I've done what I need to do in Tesco, I will collate those results and I will report back.
Testing back to base from the Thunderpole T3000 in the car to the President Grant 2 at base. This is what we should be getting from Tesco Catterick Garrison. So this can be then compared to the handhelds. I'll be swapping to the handhelds as soon as I drop the key. And this is
Right, so I've had a look at the results. So from Princess Gate Shopping Park, all the radios managed to make it in, including the Realistic when it was switched into to 0.4 of a watt, 400 milliwatts, and yeah, it made the trip back here no problem at all, despite the interference, which I think is PLT, and yeah, no, you can't do anything about PLT, despite the fact that by its very design it is actually not legal, because it interferes with pretty much all radio communications. So yeah, but I was able to get back with the handhelds, which actually did surprise me. As you will have seen in the video, that all of them made it back from Princess Gate. So, Tesco, on the other hand, the Realistic at full power, 3.5 watts, on its stock telescopic antenna, obviously, because you can't change the antenna on it. It made it back, but was not really able to open the squelch very well on the President Grant 2, and I think I know why. Because of the high noise level, that auto squelch is trying to compensate for the noise, and it just wasn't opening the squelch properly. So well, like I said, there's nothing I can do. Unfortunately, these PLT devices remain on sale, and unfortunately, people are buying them and using them oblivious to the fact that they basically wipe out pretty much all radio communications, especially everything below about below 100 megahertz. I think, I can't remember how far the latest ones interfere up to. So it's been a while since I've actually looked into that, but certainly at 27 megahertz here, it's a bit of a problem. With President Grant 2, if I press the local DX button, that drops completely off, but that's just desensitizing the receiver, so the distant signals can't come in. But otherwise, I have to deal with about, what's it saying at the minute? Fluctuating between S3 and S5. That's on channel 11, which is the channel I was using today. So unfortunately, nothing I can do. PLT is unfortunately going to cause the radio community a lot of problems, and I'm pretty sure it's coming from one of these flats. My antenna is actually close to the building. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that either. I do have a wire antenna, a T2LT type antenna. However, getting that up in the tree is not really possible, so I don't have anything to do that with. So I'll have to try that as a little experiment for another time. So, but otherwise, the handhelds were performing. They were doing the job, even though the Intek did decide when I got to Tesco that it wasn't going to key up at 4 watts. So I had to drop it to 1 watt. So the last video that I did, there is a comment on it. Someone bought a TTI H100 handheld. That's one of the newest handhelds, and said they couldn't make any contacts with it. That's probably down to the antenna, if anything. Plugging it into a base station antenna or a mobile antenna will significantly help with the range, because with the CB, a longer antenna really is better. Which is why in the last video, that Realistic pretty much worked better than the other two radios, because its antenna is longer even than the Albrecht CL-27. So, good little radio, and it was able to just say make it break the squelch on this from Tesco. That was at full power though, so I'm impressed. Just again, it's spoilt by people using PLT, not realising the harm it's causing to the radio spectrum. And with the authorities, in the UK's case Ofcom, refusing to take action against these devices unless it's properly interfering with something like an amateur radio frequency, then, you know, can't do anything. Well, it's PLT and cheap Chinese stuff off eBay and Wish that bypass the usual quality assurance and regulations and that sort of thing. So that doesn't really help with my noise level or your noise level or anyone's noise level on 11 metres. So, although I don't seem to get that same sort of bad noise on my T3000 parked outside, so I think that issue is definitely closer to the block of flats. So I think if I have the antenna further away, which I could only get away with if I put the T2LT into one of those trees, then that might help the situation, but that's another video for another time. So, right, all covered on this subject for now. So, this is Paul, Mike 0 Whiskey November uniform, or 26 Charlie Tango 730 if you catch me on 11 metres and PMR 446. I'm going to drop the end card from yesterday, the last video, into this video as well, because, you know, it was just cool. So, might as well end it that way. So, 7-3 for now, guys. Keep yourself safe. If you've got to isolate, get on the radio so you don't feel isolated when you're isolating, because we wouldn't want that. And, well, enjoy the radio. It's there. You might as well use it. I mean, with the lockdown we've had this year because of coronavirus, CB usage has picked up, but not so much round here, which I've not really quite figured out why. So if you are local to the Catterick Garrison area, get yourself a CB. Why not? You don't need a licence, no training, no nothing. Just go out. You can order them off the internet. Just buy one. You can get off the internet antenna, radio. If you need a power supply, you can get one of them as well. Then you'll be all sorted and good to go. So, although if you want to just talk between yourself and someone in a car, you only need a magnetic mount antenna. And if you know a local ham around here that's willing to help you set up CB, then why not? Speak to them and they'll help you set it up, or even another CB'er. So, yeah, if you're in this area, because the CB really has not picked up round here, despite COVID, go out and get one. So yeah, keep yourself safe and get yourself on the air if you find you have to stay in because of COVID. Yeah, all it leaves for me now to say is 7-3, and I'll catch you in the next video.
Don't forget, you can subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to be notified of new videos as I upload them. 7-3 from Paul, you know my amateur radio call sign, or 26 Charlie Tango 730 if you catch me on 11 metres, and PMR 446. Or if you want to use handles, you can call me the Red Squirrel. 7-3 for now, guys.